doing a $10 type of transaction than 10 people doing a $10 million transaction. We really believe, our platform that has almost 400 million consumer accounts, 35 million merchant accounts, that we can be a lot of this bridge between what was and what will be going forward. And so the volatility will lessen over time. The utility will increase. I think the way that regulators and governments think about this is going to evolve. You're clearly seeing that happening. One of the things about our announcement going on chain for the first time is that, the New York DFS was part of our press announcement. They are one of the most thorough and demanding regulators in the country. And I think doing responsible innovation with the blessing of regulators, I think is a very important thing. I don't think that, regulation and innovation go against each other. I think we need to learn to actually embrace each other. And I think you're finding a lot of people in the various agencies, government officials around the world trying to think about what does this next generation of a DLT technology look like going forward, and how might it help their citizens? And I think there's a big future in that.
That's really important. Look, there are a lot of people in this community clearly who think regulation is bad, period. I know you spend a lot of time in Washington. You've been talking to the regulators. How confident do you feel that we will get sensible regulation out of this process?
Well, it's like everything. It's going to take time. I think we'll have a number of senators who will either beam in or be here. They've got a lot of comprehensive legislation. The Biden administration is looking at, the ECB is looking at it, the PBOC. So these things always take time. They always take time. And you have to have patience with it. But we will come to some form of a regulatory understanding that looks to protect consumers, ensure stability in the financial system, and allows innovation to flourish going forward. It has to be that way. People, you may not want it to be that way, but that is the way it is going to evolve.
Jose, you guys have been doing this for a while. You have a lot of information. You're collecting a lot of data. What can you tell us from that data about how crypto is being used by PayPal users?
So, as Dan said before, still the preeminent case for crypto users in general is either they buy it to hold it and see whether it goes up or down on value, or they use it to explore the Web3 universe. They send it to DeFi protocols. They use it to buy NFTs. What we see in our platform is either buy it and keep it, or they use it for a checkout to buy for commerce. What we expect to see very much in the spirit of by opening this connection to the open blockchains, to see way more opportunity of them exploring the Web3 universe in their own. What has been very interesting for us is going into this, we have a certain preconceived idea that the population that would adopt crypto would skew younger or would skew more affluent. What we have seen, and obviously PayPal has a very large user base in the US, so we are a good proxy for what we have seen is that the population that is adopting crypto is not very different than the general population that we have,
really?
Which brings a lot of promise in terms of adoption. If you look at the numbers, not from us, but the latest surveys that I've seen there is that about 16% of adults in the US have had some crypto experience. 16%.
16.
Yeah, that's about 30 million individuals who have been doing that. And many of them, a large part of our audience, we are their first crypto experience. So there is an appetite for mainstream users who are hearing about digital currencies to be able to have a friendly and simple experience getting there. And we are very happy to provide that first experience.
Yeah. Dan, I want to go back to this question about inclusivity, because I know this is something you feel very passionate about. I think you and I first met in a conversation about this. How does cryptocurrency help financial inclusion?
Mm-hmm. Well, if you think about the number of people who are outside the financial system today through the world, call it approximately 2 billion. If you think about the number of people probably underserved by the financial system, I think you can probably double it. These are folks who either don't trust the system, it would be inefficient for them to be in the system, because if you have less than a certain amount, you have fees charged on top of it, and their cash flows are not as consistent, so they can run into problems quite easily. Any way that we can move money faster is going to be extraordinarily helpful for those who are, struggling to make ends meet as the month moves on. Any way that we can lower the costs of those transactions is going to be tremendously valuable for those who most need it. In the US alone, there's probably something like $140 billion spent by those who most need that money on unnecessary fees and high interest rates. And so if we can figure out a system that allows money to move faster, has less intermediaries in it, reduces the cost of that transaction for everybody, does not have people living in certain countries where you can have volatility in currencies, then that will be by definition a much more inclusive
And
economy.
is there any indication that that population is using it on your platform now, or is that a future state? Are the unbanked coming to PayPal and using crypto for significant financial transactions?
No,
Not yet.
not right now. Really, think about it. Really what we have today, for the most part, was buy, hold, sell. As Jose said, the overwhelming majority of the people who came on to our platform to buy, hold, or sell crypto were new users, which was great. We expanded greatly the population of users into the crypto space. Now, we're moving on to the chain. We just opened up, not that long ago, the ability to use crypto as any other funding source inside the PayPal wallet. We will instantaneously take your crypto, translate it into fiat, and you'll be able to use that at any one of our 35 million accounts, merchant accounts. So we're trying to add functionality, but what we just did with transfers is kind of like the opening step. You might think about us moving from a fiat-oriented world into a digital currency.
So you're really playing a long game here. We're at the very beginning of this transformation in your mind.
We are playing a long game, but wouldn't be surprising to me. It depends on how you define long, but I think you're going to start to see some significant changes over the next 5 years.
Yeah. Did you guys see the announcement that Jack Dorsey and Jay-Z are creating a crypto academy in New York for underserved populations? I don't know if you think that's a good idea or haven't.
More power to both of them.
So cast it forward for us. I mean, what is the world going to look like 5 years? The financial world going to look like 5 years down the road, or 10 years down the road, in your view?
I can get us started. I think that there are three things that are really exciting me when I think about the future, not the far distant future. So I think that we can see there. The first one is NFTs. I think that NFTs, when we look beyond the early use cases, and you think of an NFT as a digital property right, that is something that can enable a significant number of use cases that we can probably not even think about now. So
and that goes way beyond finance. I mean, that'll probably transform my business and a bunch of other businesses as well.
Absolutely. So thinking of them as digital art is one early use case, but thinking of them as now I have a way to prove that I own something on chain, that is a very, very significant development that we still need to see in the future. The second one is stable methods of exchange, whether they are stable coins or CBDCs. The ecosystem needs that. For us to be able to serve merchants at scale, they need to be willing to settle in digital currency, and they will want stable coins. And probably the third one is identity. It's really important that there is a way to have digital identity on chain so that you can prove who you are. And for some of the use cases, is going to be really, really important.
Yeah, so those are the three big ones. Is the NFT a true
NFTs,
stable coin?
Correct.
And digital identity. And how far away are we from having those three?
I think we are very close to having NFTs at scale. Well, NFTs are already there.
Yeah.
They can be extended. I think that we are close to having stable coins that are suitable for payments at scale. Digital identity, there is some very interesting early work that the community is doing. That one is probably a little bit further out.
But I think, Alan, if you pull back a little bit from, those specifics, like clearly the world is rapidly digitizing. People are looking to do more and more of what were previously disparate things in the economy, move it onto digital and have them integrated. So things like shopping, payments, basic consumer financial services, budgeting tool sets. I think all of those are coming together in integrated apps. You could call them a full digital wallet. Other people refer to it as super apps, but more and more is coming together. And so you have disparate parts of the economy coming together in a digital way. And then you have the underlying rails that support that also evolving at the same time. When you live in kind of the center of where technology is evolving and you see it distributed all over the community now, the next 5 to 10 years are going to bring massive change. You'll move into a whole different form of processing. Everything will be moved out into the edge. The amount of devices connected to the internet will grow exponentially because you really don't have to worry about battery life anymore. The cost of